4K 60 frames per second recording here on the Oppo Find X8 Ultra in Chongqing, China, and we want to do a little camera comparison with 4K 60 frames per second here against the Vivo X200 Ultra that I also have in my hands. There we go, at 4K 60 frames per second. So we start off with the front-facing video here on the Oppo, but I will also do a front-facing video now that I will start here at 4K 60 frames per second on the Vivo. So we have a side-by-side, and there we go. So now side-by-side audio taken from the Oppo, because I have like the mic plugged in. We see it is a bit more cropped in definitely on the Vivo in comparison to the Oppo. That is a little bit wider for sure. And what do you think? Which one has better colors? It's a bit pale looking on the Vivo, but a bit more yellowish probably. How's HDR here? The sun in the background. Sun is actually there. Which one is doing a bit better? I like the wider field of view already on the Oppo. Stabilization, always a notorious issue on the Vivo. How good is it doing here? What do you think? And now we will switch to the back-facing cameras. So now 4K 60 frames per second on the Oppo and on the Vivo. Which one is performing better here at 4K 60 frames per second with the main camera sensor? Actually, it's not the main camera sensor, it's the ultra wide angle on the Vivo, because the main camera would be way too cropped in. Let's check out how it will look like with the main camera sensor actually when I put it on the selfie stick. So now as wide as I can stretch the Vivo out, and here you can see the Oppo, you can see it even in the shot there. And what do you think about the main camera sensor in 4K 60 frames? It can record definitely on the Vivo, but it's like way too close up and I have to hold it way too far away to be usable. I cannot do this for long as it is just tiring. So what do you think about the comparison here? Main camera sensor on the Oppo with a reasonable kind of holding position, and the Vivo that I have to stretch out quite a way if I want to use the main 35mm for 4K 60 frames per second vlogging. Now let's go and switch again to the ultra wide angle to show you how far away I'm actually am here with the Vivo, and we go also to the ultra wide angle of the Oppo and then maybe match them up. So this is like the matchup now between those two at 4K 60 frames per second. So what do you think? Which one is performing better overall here in terms of stabilization especially? As I didn't have time in the city to do a video zoom test, let's do it here in my apartment. And we try to zoom in on the neighbor's balcony there. So let's go 2x and 35. And maybe zoom in a bit further, like 50x here. Let's go maybe 3x here, 3x there. Actually, it's not 3x, it's 85mm. And then we go even further up to 10x. Here we also go like roughly 10x. So which one is better here? Let's go to the maximum zoom and see that I think the Oppo has an advantage of going a bit further, is it? No, I think the Vivo is doing it a bit better. But the Oppo is way more stable than the Vivo. Let's go back. The zoom performance of both of them is pretty good, I would say. Let's find maybe some spot where we can zoom in a bit better. Like for example, the neighbors down there, they have a nice, let's go up to 20 times something there on the table, or the flowers, nice flowers. Let's go, this is the maximum on the Vivo already, and press, there we have the Oppo as well. So 4K 60 frames per second, you can see roughly the same in terms of like resolution. I think the Oppo is still a bit closer up there. Which one is doing it better? On screen the Vivo looks a bit shaky, but I'm pretty sure that the end result will be pretty much on par. So which one is winning in your opinion? So overall, I think the Vivo X200 Ultra is doing a splendid job, but also the Oppo Find X8 Ultra is doing a splendid job. We still have a bit of a weaker front-facing camera for sure in terms of stabilization, even though it didn't look too bad here, I have to say. The wider field of view on the Oppo is definitely winning. What is definitely winning on the Vivo is the wider field of view on the ultra-wide angle. That is the default camera sensor, and it's large camera sensor, and you notice that it's good quality. And if you compare it with the Oppo is not bad quality, but in comparison to the Vivo, it is like miles ahead, the Vivo here. Main camera sensor, however, is on this here for selfie or vlogging. Not very good for shooting because it's just way too close up, and even with a selfie stick fully extended and had my arm stretched out, it was hard to get me completely in frame. This is why 24mm is way better there. With this one you have to crop in a little bit to get 24 frames per second. It's possible then, but you don't get the creamy nice bokeh that you get on the 1-inch type sensor of the Oppo in this regard. In terms of colors, they're very, very close together. I think the Vivo is still doing a little bit more yellowish kind of face color, but it's not too bad looking there. And I think they did a great improvement here on the Vivo. Still, overall, I think the camera performance, especially for the selfie cam, is a win for the Oppo. So I would give the Oppo the slight edge there, even though I think the zoom here on the Vivo is performing a little bit better. The stabilization on the Oppo is also way better than this of the Vivo. But what is your opinion? Write it down in the comment section. That's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time. Bye.